The tone has been reset at Michigan under Sherrone Moore. If you watch what happened Saturday, if you're a casual college football fan, you saw Michigan do what Michigan's done the last 3 seasons, now 4 seasons to Ohio State, which is be the more physical team, be the tougher team, and pretty much overwhelm them when it comes to meeting that moment. So what does it mean for Sherrone Moore? What does it mean for Michigan football in the future now? Because like we said, when you set the tone, it's great for that moment, but setting the tone is impactful in terms of what it means for the seasons to come, especially in Ann Arbor. We'll talk about it right now. Make sure you're dialed in, baby. National Signing Day around the corner. The college football playoff around the corner. The transfer portal already buzzing. Got a lot of plans to enter announcements hitting the On3 portal page, the On3 main page. Bottom line, if you want to be dialed in for all things college football, Wolverines otherwise, make sure you subscribe right here to the On3 YouTube channel. So this is the largest talent gap that Michigan is going to have under Sherrone Moore as it pertains to Ohio State, I believe, as long as he's the head coach there. And that sounds hyperbolic, but like legitimately, you saw what Michigan was in that game against Ohio State. And that's not a super big dunk on Michigan because of all the guys they had drafted and a new head coach and a new quarterback and all those pieces. But like, look at what Ohio State had. They went out and got themselves a quarterback from the portal. They went out and put together a roster allegedly from a $20 million budget. And still, Michigan did what Michigan does and out-toughed them, out-physicaled them, out-rushed them. Again, I think it's a weird way to say this. I think they out-composured them. And so if that's the case this season, going forward under Sherrone Moore, what's it look like once you continue to evolve and eventually get your sea legs back under you if you're Michigan? And this is not to dunk on anybody on that roster, but like Michigan was playing a walk-on at quarterback, and I love Davis Warburton with every fiber of my being. But you beat Ohio State throwing the football for 60 yards. So where I arrive at is with Michigan. The win over Ohio State was not a talent win. And that's incredible because I don't think the talent at Michigan is going to stay at the level it's at right now. But look at what Michigan did this season. You beat USC, who I think is a talented football team, throwing the ball for 32 yards. You beat Ohio State, I just mentioned, throwing the ball for 60 yards. It's pretty obvious in college football, you can win a lot of games if you're just the more physical, more tough team. And now going forward, under Sherrone Moore, it's clear that's who Michigan is. Like if you were to take blood from Michigan and then get it tested in a lab and bring it back, their DNA is tough. Their DNA is physical. Their DNA is gritty. And here's the thing, man, Ohio State, I promise you, throughout the entire season, they talked about being tough. I promise you they broke it down during winter conditioning on toughness or grit or whatever they wanted to talk about. They probably talked about it during the week, probably talked about it, in different team meetings. Toughness isn't something you put on a t-shirt. Toughness is something you either are or you aren't. And there's no way to actually instill that into your football team unless that's who you are as a head coach. Now, I'm not saying that's what Ryan Day is or isn't, but I can tell you this, Sherrone Moore and that football team, they were tougher on that day, and that made the difference. And that was who Jim Harbaugh was. But I think if you're a Michigan fan, you're encouraged to see, even with the roster and the spot that it's at, and they got NFL players on the defense side of the football. Colston Lovin, I think, is arguably, if not without a doubt, the best tight end in college football. But like even with the roster being where it's at, the toughness factor at Michigan that makes Michigan, that secret ingredient, that extra edge for them, that's still there, even with Jim Harbaugh no longer there. And so if that's going to be stable for Michigan going forward, what did we say a lot about with Sherrone Moore once he got named the head coach at Michigan? Hey, yeah, he's operates in a similar way to Jim Harbaugh in the way that he has that edge to him. He has that grittiness to him. They want to still develop their guys internally. That's a big part of what they do. At the exact same time, though, Sherrone Moore is going to go get some talent. And that's been proven to this point. And I think a big part of this also, Michigan, shout out to y'all getting in the game a little bit when it comes to the NIL front. Okay, we're playing ball. Vibes are immaculate. You got the top quarterback in high school football coming to Ann Arbor next season. Currently, at the time of us recording this, you have a top 10 class a few days before National Signing Day. Michigan, no knock on them, like they haven't really operated this way historically. Like they've had a top 10 class here or there, but for the most part, you see Michigan recruiting in the teens, definitely behind Ohio State. And a lot of times you see them recruit behind other teams in their conference, definitely behind Oregon, how they're operating right now. But if I'm Michigan, I'm looking at the future and say, okay, if we're going to have the same tough, gritty, physical identity that allowed us to beat the most talented roster in college football in Ohio State at their place, and we're going to improve the raw ingredients from a talent perspective and go get a dog at what is the most important position in sports, period, in the quarterback position. Now you got Bryce Underwood. Like, what's this thing going to look like in the next 3 to 4 years under Sherrone Moore? have to believe you're pretty excited about where this thing is heading. The trajectory of Michigan football is pointed towards a really exciting place. And so with this season for Michigan, there was a lot of optimism in a lot of ways because of what you had on defense and because of what the run game could have been going into the season, and say, hey, okay, like, you're off a national title run. That's awesome. What can they do for an encore? But I think everyone, if we're being 110% honest, we all understood this year for Michigan was a bit of a reset. Now, we weren't sure what the reset would look like, if it would be a 9-win season, if it'd be a 6-win season. We weren't sure. But here's what I will say. In a reset season, you beat your rival, and again, you beat a $20 million, allegedly, caliber roster. Michigan football is reset now. I don't know what it's going to look like next year, but I promise you they will swing a big bat on the NIL front when it comes to the portal. I expect them to sprint through the finish on National Signing Day. Michigan's here, man. Michigan, we talk about the reset. They have been reset now. It is go mode for them. And they're not going anywhere under Sherrone Moore. And I think that game over Ohio State is just the jumping off point for the Sherrone Moore era in Ann Arbor. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Get at me on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, at JD PicKell. Want to hear from y'all there. Again, make sure you're locked in here, man. Golly, it's that time of year where Portal Madness is hitting. A conference title Saturday coming up. Vibes are immaculate for all of us in the college football public. Want y'all a part of what we're doing right here. Okay? Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.